What's up, bro? Gonna read a quote for you. Actually, two. So, the first one: you don't become yourself by changing, you become yourself by remembering who you were before you forgot. And the second one: I used to think growth meant becoming someone new. Turns out, it's about remembering who I was before the world told me who to be. So, this is the thoughts of Carl Jung. Jung believed that most of us live inside a story that isn't really ours. Long before we know who we are shaped by expectations, rules, and roles. We learn what earns approval, what brings safety, and what must be hidden. Slowly, we adopt a constructed identity that allows us to function in the world but distracts us from our inner truth. Jung called this the social mask or the persona. You can say what can you say? You can say the persona is a necessary disguise that helps us navigate society. Yet often it becomes a prison when we mistake it for our true selves. For Jung, the real work of life begins when we stop running from the shadow and start integrating it. This process, which he calls individuation, asks us to confront the uncomfortable Christian inherited beliefs and invite conflict where we once sought conformity. Individuation is not about becoming perfect, but becoming whole, uniting the persona and the shadow, the inner feminine and masculine energies and all the forgotten corners of a true psyche. Jung saw the self not as a fixed object, but as living. A living, shifting process. The ego loves boundaries and certainty. It wants to define who we are. But the deeper self is much larger than the ego can contain. It rises from what Jung called the collective unconsciousness, a shared psychological inherence full of universal patterns, of, you can say, archetypes. Here we have the hero. The hero pushes us towards growth. The shadow challenges us, and the anima and the animus guides us toward internal balances. These archetypes echo across all cultures and time, shaping our dreams and fears and our desires. Finding your authentic self means learning to speak the language of the deeper world. Dreams become like signposts, symbolic messages trying to show us what we refuse to see. Creativity becomes a doorway. Art, writing, and music allows the unconscious to slip through the ego's defense. Self-reflection becomes a practice of gentle interrogation. Why do I believe this? Where did this reaction come from? Whose voice am I following? True transformation requires discomfort. Jung believed that avoiding discomfort is one of the main reasons people never meet their real selves. We distract ourselves, busy ourselves, and maintain the illusion that keep life familiar. By stepping into the unknown, the uncertain, the unpolished, the unplanned is where the deeper self is beginning to show. The individuation is not a technique, a quick fix, or ritual. It's a lifelong journey to reclaim what we lost, what we denied, and what we never knew we carried. When these inner fragments are brought together, something remarkable happens. Life becomes more vivid, life becomes more fun, choices feel more aligned, and there's this sense of self shifts from something fragile and defended to something grounded, expansive, and real. Jung's message is simple and radical. You are not your mask. You are not your conditioning. and you are not the narrow identity your ego clings to. Beneath all that lives a larger, more authentic self. And your life truly begins the moment you start searching for it. If you didn't understand what I just spoke about, it is fair. If you did, and then opened up for something, please give it a like. Go down, make a comment, then we can have a discussion. Or even subscribe if you want to. This is a very heavy subject, and is a subject which is very much touched upon. It is you can say, well, it's something that follows us through life. You're being sculptured, you're being structured from the moment you begin to breathe. You get thrown down in kindergarten and you're told by the kindergarten teacher what is right, what is wrong, and you are being rewarded or you're being punished by the things you do. They are saying what is right, what is wrong. They don't give you the space to try and test, trial and error. They are not giving you enough freedom. Sometimes it's good if you're a fucking psycho, because of course don't hit people. But when you have thoughts that is not within the normal discourse, people are going to be mad. People hate it, but it's often because it's a hidden feature they have within themselves. But they really haven't opened up for or claimed yet. And when you begin to pursue this, I started this process 3-4 years ago. You will lose friends, or people you consider your friends. But in the end, they aren't. They're just like your mask, your persona, not the real you. And therefore, they are not your friends. And you will see a lot of people are trapped within this, because you are as well. And life is a journey about finding your authentic self. About, it's always almost cringe to say, but breaking out of this almost matrix. And that's also why you see some old people old people are very mad. But some older people are happy and they are full of energy and they're goofy, and that is people who found themselves. And this is a very important process, because the average person don't go through this process. And do you want to live the average life? Let's just say the average life of a man. Well, I can say to you right now, the average life of a man is not a life you want to live. I'm not gonna go into detail, that's for another video, but please, to love of God, don't ever stop. This process is what makes life interesting. It gives you a sense of meaningfulness. And it's a subject that's very much touched upon. You can see it in many famous movies, such as Fight Club, where we have Tyler Durden and his normal self. The first Tyler Durden we see, because it is the same person. The first Tyler we see in the start of the movie is a person which are shaped by all the societal norms. It's a person shaped. It's a person shaped by societal norms, by normal societal things, by boring things, which he also thinks are boring. And he tries to find a meaning with life by collecting furniture, to live the ideal life. But he hates it. And there he has his shadow, which is the another Tyler Durden he meets in the plane, which is violent, who is a rebel, who says what's on his mind, who fucks a lot of women. And that is what he inspires to be. His suppressed self. And Fight Club, I'm sorry if you have seen Fight Club, but now because I'm spoiling it all, but Tyler Durden is his shadow running around, what he thinks is the ideal man, all his hidden desires, hidden strength, hidden fears, everything. And in the end, he has this conflict with his shadow, and he finds a balance. He ends up because the shadow have been too dominant. So it is an inner conflict about your mask and your shadow, and you need to put away the mask, and you need to unite and find a balance with your shadow, so you can go out and be who you want to be without having to suppress yourself. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to not want to go to university. Everything is okay. But you first figured this out when you made peace with your shadow and you've thrown away your mask. Thank you for watching, bro, and see you in the next.